Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Over the Hill Acres. What a peaceful, beautiful morning it is. You're not going to find views like this in the city. This is just unbelievable. It's calm, the birds are chirping, the moon's big and bright up there. Beautiful out. Gotta love it. I love the country. Could never live in town. Sorry to all you folks that live in town. I know there's pros and cons to both, but this is where I'd rather be. Well, gotta get to work. We'll get back with you and see what's going on for the day. Well, I hope everyone had a good day today. This evening, we're going to talk a little bit about tractors. The different sizes, what tractor you might want to have, and what tractor you probably should have. And we're going to talk a little bit about my experience with the McCormick X145 also. So you want to buy a tractor. Where do you start? You look online and you see all these tractors, different sizes, different makes, different models, cab, no cab, four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, bucket loader, mowers. Hundreds of different attachments. It can be mind-boggling. Horsepower range. Do I want a hydrostatic? Do I want a gear drive? It can be overwhelming if you're new to buying a tractor and you're just getting into it. So let's talk about how to narrow this down a little. So first of all, property size. Do you have 2 acres, 5 acres, 55 acres, 100 acres? All that will dictate how you want to approach this. Now, I have 90 acres here on a farm, and this is a 47 horsepower tractor, 4-wheel drive. Now, you don't want a 47 horsepower tractor on 2 acres of property. Well, you might want it, but it probably won't be beneficial for you. Now, 1 to 3 acres or so is probably a good area for a subcompact, because you can also put a belly mower on them. You can use them to mow the yard and still have a bucket loader to be able to move material around and handle some small jobs for you. Now, if you're like me, I've got up to 90 acres. 47 horsepower is the bare minimum that you'd probably want for a situation like this. I'll get into explain why I chose this tractor over a bigger tractor in a moment. Anything over 100 acres, you probably want to be into a utility tractor anyways. So let's break this down a little bit. Now, these are just my opinions. I have been working with tractors and heavy equipment since I could almost walk. I've been driving tractors since I've been 8 years old. I grew up on the neighbor's farm pretty much. I understand equipment very well, so I will try to talk in aspects of a new beginner just buying their first tractor. If you have small acreage, you're buying a subcompact or a compact tractor, my opinion is you definitely need 4-wheel drive. That's not an option. These tractors have lousy traction if you don't have 4-wheel drive. Their wheelbases are too small. They don't have the weight. So 4-wheel drive is almost a must in a compact or subcompact tractor, especially when they put these style tires on them. These R4s are worthless without 4-wheel drive. The nice thing about them is they hardly ever wear out. You won't be putting tires on them every 5 to 10 years, I can guarantee you that. If I could choose the tread style I want on my tractor, it definitely would not be the R4s. They're worthless even on wet grass on subcompacts and compact tractors. They have options now that are R14s or the ag style. But if you're a homeowner, you do not want ag style tractor tires because they will tear up your yard. Look to get the R14s. They're a lot better traction than these R4 industrial tires. With that being said, bucket loader is a must. You can buy a tractor a lot cheaper, probably about $7,000 cheaper by not having a loader. You will wish you got the loader. That is the main thing most people on smaller acreage need a tractor for, is to moving things around. So definitely get it with a loader, and the resale value is much higher with a loader. It is hard to find an aftermarket loader for a tractor that actually works right on them. Next thing is horsepower size. 25 horse bare minimum for just about any application you're going to want. If you have anything less than that, you find it hard to find PTO implements that you can run, because horsepower is not equivalent to PTO power. So if you have 25 horsepower tractor, you're looking at 22 to 20 horsepower, even down to 18 and 19 horsepower PTO horsepower. And most equipment out there that is worth anything requires roughly around 20 horsepower or more. The average homeowner with a few acres, a 25 horsepower tractor is plenty. So that's where I would start if I just owned 5 acres or so. The next thing is, do you want gear driven or do you want hydrostatic? Now the average homeowner, I would say go with the hydrostatic. It is much more user friendly, especially if you're going to be using the loader. I myself prefer gear driven, and the reason being is that hydrostatic drive takes horsepower away from the ground engagement. If you have a 25 horsepower tractor, you're not getting all that 25 horse to the ground with a hydrostat, because the pumps, hydraulic pumps, eat up that horsepower. You cannot slip the clutch on a hydrostat to get better traction, and that's something that, unless you are familiar with gear-driven tractors, you should not be doing anyways. Those are learned techniques as you get more familiar with your tractor and stuff if you have a gear-driven tractor. The nice thing about hydrostatic, though, is you have infinite speed. There's no having to change gears in between, and you don't have to, every time you back up, you don't have to shift a lever. You just step on the pedal and you go backwards. So there's definitely pros to having a hydrostat. If I was using this for 80% loader work all the time, I would prefer one with a hydrostat. But seeing as I use my tractor for doing things like mowing 45 acres of pasture, for skidding logs and doing work in the woods, a gear-driven tractor is definitely more productive than a hydrostat tractor. I am not going to get into different makes of tractor: John Deere, Case, Kubota, McCormick, New Holland. I'm not going to get into that kind of stuff. In my opinion, I am not color loyal. They all make decent tractors nowadays. There are some out there on the market that are probably not the best ones to be buying, but we'll do a different video on that down the road. As for the major brands, they all have their pros and cons. So one of them being price. The more major the brand, the higher the price is going to be. I found out over the years that even the lesser known tractors put out good products nowadays. It all depends on what you're looking for. So, and service is one of the biggest things. So you do not want to buy a tractor that does not have a good service dealership behind them. When you buy a tractor, you're buying the service department. Keep that in mind when you stop and visit your dealers. Don't hesitate to ask them for a tour of their facilities, to talk to them about their service department, to meet their mechanics, to go out in their shop. They will be more than glad to show you if their dealership is worth anything. So you want to keep that in mind when you're checking it out. You want a dealer that's friendly. You don't want to go in a dealership where you feel like you're wasting their time being in there. If they're not going to take time to explain their tractors, to go over every little thing on it that you want to ask, go to the next dealer. Because there is nothing worse than having a problem with your tractor after you just paid $25,000, $30,000 for a piece of equipment, and they treat you like you're bothering them when you walk in the door. So just remember, the dealership is one of the biggest parts of buying a tractor nowadays. Especially with all the electronics and stuff on them, you are going to have issues. Next thing is buying new or buying used. Now, I bought this tractor used. I took my time, looked around. I've had it for 4 years now. When I bought this tractor, it had 360 hours on it. That is like a brand new tractor. Diesels will last you 10,000 hours if you take, and that is not a exaggeration. If you take care of your equipment and change the oils and wash these things and fix things when they start to go, you can get many, many years and hours out of your piece of equipment. So don't hesitate to buy a tractor that's got 1,000 hours on it. That is just getting broke in my opinion. So a lot of people want to buy new. I understand that feeling of having a brand new piece of equipment, but this tractor new, I would have paid probably $8,000 to $10,000 more than I paid for it when I bought it used with only 3,000 hours on it. And I got the exact same tractor. The guy that had this tractor, I knew who it was, and when he traded it in, I went right down, looked at it, and I bought it. So I was in the process of buying a brand new one just before that. My dealer, there goes again, your dealers need to be your friends. He knew I was looking at buying a new one. He knew when this one come in on trade, he called me right away. I went down and looked at it. I stopped the transaction for the other one, and I bought this one instead. So there you go. Local dealers are the way to go. So try to find somebody some dealer that you can work with on that kind of relationship. Now, with all that being said, what do you plan on doing with this tractor? Are you just using it around your yard? Are you gonna mow your yard with it? Do you have brush hogging to do? Are you gonna use it for a very expensive wheelbarrow and just haul light stuff around in the bucket? That will depend on the size of tractor you need also. Now, in my situation, I have 90 acres. I have 40 acres of its woods or better. I have 28 acres of pasture right around there. So I have brush hogging to do. I got trails in the woods to keep up. I heat with firewood. So I need a pretty stout tractor. That's why I went with a 47 horse. I could have went with a little bit bigger one, but I chose the 47 horse and the smaller frame because I need to get in and out of the woods, and I don't want to be ripping trees down and all that kind of stuff just to get through the woods with a bigger tractor. Which brings me to the cab or no cab option also. I would love to have a tractor with a cab on. My next one will be one with a cab on it. I will not get rid of this one. I'm probably going to get an 80 horsepower to 100 horsepower tractor, and that tractor will be just for brush hogging fields and that kind of stuff, and may only be a two-wheel drive. It's nice to have a cab on something like that when you're doing that, or cleaning your driveway out in the winter time, because I live where we get snow, and I mean, we don't just get an inch or two every now and then. It's nothing to get 2 feet of snow at a clip. So having a cab on your tractor for that would be very nice. And when you're brush hogging the bugs and stuff, it's just nice to be inside with heat and air conditioning, depending on what the season is. So you got to keep those in mind, and that's one reason I opted for open station, is because of the woods work I do. I did not want to go in the woods with a tractor full of glass. I'll be replacing windows and doors constantly. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about whether you want a cab or an open station. Now, there's a lot of options you can get on tractors nowadays too, so you got to think about that also. Let's go a little bit of a walk around on this one. I'll show you some of the options on it that I think are just perfect, and other ones that, yeah, really don't need. So let's take a peek. First and foremost, quick attach buckets. Those two handles there are a must in my opinion. Never get a bucket that is just pinned on, because you'll never be able to use anything else without buying an adapter plate and putting another $500 into your tractor. By being able to release these, I can take that bucket off. I can put pallet forks on, grapple, hydraulic post hole digger, all that kind of stuff that you can run off the front if you have a quick attach. So definitely quick attach is the way to go. When you're also when you're buying a tractor with a loader on, this tractor does not have one, but a third function. I will be getting a third function put on this tractor probably this fall. Third function definitely needed if you're running a grapple or a post hole digger and things like that. But the third function runs off of your joystick on the tractor and allows you to run that type of equipment without taking away from the tilts and the lifts on your loader. So third function is another thing to have. Another function on these tractors that I find is a big help is right here. These are telescopic 3-point hitch arms. So if you're not right close, all you gotta do is press that down. These arms slide out to hook to your pins instead of having to have it perfect, because some of these attachments, a good amount of these attachments, are just too heavy to move by hand when you get back here. So those are excellent to have. Also, the adjustable sway bars, so you can pin them in the position you want them instead of the turnbuckle style. Turnbuckles are hard to adjust. These are real easy. You center it and drop the pins in. Remote hydraulics. If you plan on running anything behind your tractor that's on wheels, that needs to be picked up, like discs, mowers, or anything like that, you need to have a remote hydraulics. This tractor came with 2 sets of them. 1 is a must, 2 is much better. I have not used both sets together yet, but they're there if I need them. Another thing is you don't want a fixed drawbar. This drawbar is slid all the way in at the moment, but if I pull this pin, I can slide this drawbar out and adjust it. So it's having a having an adjustable drawbar is nice. It's not a must, but having an adjustable one is sure handy. They all have these guards over them nowadays. It's nice to get the ones that actually flip up like this does. This one's a little tight. There it goes. So you can get in there and hook your PTO shaft up. And if you have a tractor and you plan on putting it in your garage, if you're getting a compact, make sure that it has foldable ROPS, because this is over 7 foot tall. It won't fit in a standard 7x9 garage door. But if I was to fold that down, I can just drive right in with no problem. I have a machinery shed, so I don't need to worry about that. But look to see if they have the foldable ROPS. I'd say probably 80% of them do now, unless you're looking at like compact tractors. It makes it really nice if you're trying to mow underneath trees and stuff. You can fold that down so you're not ripping the tree branches down or damaging your tractor in any way. Tilt steering. This one has tilt steering. I set it and have never moved it since. It works excellent for me. Right where it's at, it's okay. I don't know if it's a necessity or not. Also, when you're buying your tractor, look on the loader and see if it has a bucket indicator to tell whether your bucket's level or not. Believe it or not, some of these tractor manufacturers pinch pennies in some of the weirdest places why you would not have a bucket indicator, because it is so hard to tell sometimes whether your bucket is level or not when you put it on the ground, and you'll end up digging up the ground. So it's really handy to have them. Look for them when you're going to buy your tractor. Now, some other options on this tractor that I put on myself are the LED lights up top and in the back. You can never have too much light when you're trying to do things in the dark. Now, also mirrors. This tractor didn't have mirrors. I bought a set of these magnetic mirrors to mount on you can clip them onto the loader brackets right there, and it's so much nicer. Saves that turning around and looking behind you when you're going down the road all the time. When you're trying to back up, you can just check your mirrors. I'm down to one. I did knock one off in the woods and accidentally ran it over. You got to be careful of that. They are pretty strong magnets, but they can get knocked off. So that's another option. And then living up here in the Northeast, right here is a heater that I put in the radiator line to keep the water warm, keep the engine warm, so this thing will start in the winter time. If you're not putting this in the heated garage and you live in areas that gets down below freezing, some kind of a block heater or inline heater in the radiator is a must. It will save you a lot of heartache, and when you go to try to start your tractor to plow your driveway and you can't get it to start, because diesels are finicky. Even though they all have glow plugs nowadays, sometimes it's not enough to get them started, depending on the temperatures you live in. When you get down south, that's not as much to worry about, but up here it is. And then the other option I have on this tractor, these back tires are loaded. They're loaded with beet juice, rim guard, and with compact tractors, safety is an issue. Like I said before, these tires on this thing don't work the best on this tractor because these tractors are not heavy enough. They're not like a utility tractor. They're missing a lot of weight to make them this small but have all this horsepower. So you need weight on the back. The minimum you need is your tires loaded if you're going to have a compact tractor. We'll get into that kind of stuff on another video. But when you're buying a tractor, any dealership can have your tires loaded for you. And I would make sure you have that done before it leaves the shop. Now, another option I put on was this tooth blade on the front of this. It's a Piranha tooth blade. I'll leave a link in the bottom in the description if you're interested. This Piranha tooth blade has been a game changer. Flat blades are a pain in the butt to try to dig in dirt with. Your bucket just rides above it half the time. With a Sperana tooth blade, it digs. And if you're trying to clear brush and stuff, those teeth are sharp. They'll catch different things and pull it out real easy. So that was cost me about $400, and that was one of the best purchases I ever made. Nice thing about this thing, it slides on the front of that bucket. It attaches with 2 bolts, one on each side of the bucket, and it does not come loose. It doesn't fall off of there. It doesn't rattle. It is a game changer when it comes to working with your bucket. If you need to do fine grading, you can take that off in 5 minutes and put it back on when you need it. And the other thing is buckets are notorious for bending in the middle. With having that tooth blade on there, it helps support that, so you're not, if you're trying to pick up heavy stuff too much and dig with it, you're not getting a bow in your bucket. The next option that you need to look for is some kind of guard on the front to protect your tractor. I need to build a screen that goes across this for smaller sticks and stuff. Knock on wood, I have not taken out my radiator or headlights or anything yet. But to have bare minimum a guard like this to keep bigger stuff from hitting your tractor and destroying something. Now, options on your tractor can be overwhelming. It's just like buying a car anymore. There are tons of different options you can get on your tractors. A lot of them can be added afterwards with not much trouble at all. So you want to keep that in mind also. But the more you can buy when you first purchase your tractor, if you're buying it new, the more money you'll probably save in the long run. But if you don't have that kind of money and you just want to get a tractor, the biggest option that you need to consider is to make sure it has a loader on it. Now, things like the telescopic hitch in the back here and everything, they actually make different styles that can be added after the fact. And the sway bar, adjustable sway bars can be added after. Quite a few things can be added after, but it's just nice to have it the way you want it when you get it, if you can afford it. If you can't, then that's understandable. I couldn't afford a lot of stuff either. That's why I showed you some of the stuff I put on after the fact. It's not a cheap date, I can tell you that. If you own a tractor, is a piece of equipment that you'll own for many years, and you're going to pay a fairly decent price in order to have that equipment. But in the long run, it will save you so much time, backaches, and everything, having a tractor with the stuff on it that you want, and you'd be surprised the things that you'll find to do with this tractor on your property. A lot of people out there will tell you that once you decided on the tractor you want, you should buy the next size bigger. I don't go by that rule of thumb anymore. Yes, as a man, we like bigger the better. Understandable. Equipment's equipment, and we all love to run it. But you don't need to spend that kind of money. If you do your research and you talk to people, once you make up your mind, and it's not a fly-by-night over a 2-hour period, decide that's a tractor you want, I'm sure you're going to be happy with it. So my opinion and suggestions to you is, if you have friends that have tractors, if you have local farms in the area, go talk to them. Most of these guys would be happy to explain their tractors to you and help you make a decision. You should talk to as many people as possible. Talk to your dealers. A good dealer will not sell you a tractor that you do not need, because they want your business back. So if they steer you wrong in the beginning, then chances are they're going to lose your business in the future. So ask the questions, settle on the tractor you're going to buy, and then when you get that tractor, you will have the tractor that you need for your property. I can't stress this enough. You do not have to be color loyal. It doesn't matter whether the tractor's green, red, orange, purple, pink. It doesn't matter. These guys that tell you that it matters, they're full of BS most of the time. A lot of companies out there make good equipment. I'm 61 years old. I have been in the field of heavy equipment since I've been 10 years old. I've been running tractors, trucks, excavators, dump trucks, bulldozers, you name it, front end loaders. I have been associated with this kind of business all my life. Now, yes, is junk out there, but you learn as you go, unfortunately, and sometimes you pay the price for that. But if you treat it right, you operate it the way it's supposed to be operated, color does not matter. You find the one that works for you and you go with it. Don't let somebody talk you into something because of a certain color, and you'll find out down the road that that might have been a big mistake. You have to make the decision. These are high dollar pieces of equipment. You're going to be paying for this, not them. Do your research. And if you do your research and you get to know the tractors that you're looking at, that's the best way to go about it. Not because Joe Blow, the farmer down the road, bleeds green every time he's cut, and that's the only thing he'll buy. He has his opinions and he has his purpose for buying green, but it's not always the right way to go. So do your research and make the decision for yourself. Now, with all that being said, it is a beautiful night here on Over the Hill Acres. I think I'm going to go relax. The wife's working a late shift tonight. It's supper time. I'm going to go down to the house, make something to eat on the grill, I think, sit on the patio and enjoy myself. It's beautiful out. It's 70 degrees. It's not real hot. It's not cold. There's no big breeze blowing through here. It's just perfect. So I'm going to go relax for a little bit. I hope you guys all relax. Do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe if you like this kind of content. I'm going to be ramping up my videos here a little more now. I'm going to have a drone and my GoPros in place here shortly, so the video footage will be a little better than just the phone footage. So help an old guy out, please. Hit that like button and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you're notified when I put out a video. I hope you all have a good night. We'll talk to you a little later. God bless.